What's up, YouTube? Hope everyone's having a good day. Just wanted to quickly make a video around a conversation that I'm seeing on Instagram quite a bit these days, and it has everyone upset, and that is why your Instagram engagement is down. Personally, I believe that that's the wrong metric to be upset about. I actually think you should be looking at the reach of your post, because that's likely the number that's causing this big problem for everyone. So to kind of add some context to what I mean there, I'll give you an example. Basically, let's just say you are consistently posting on Instagram and you've been doing that for a while, so you've kind of been around for the evolution of chronological to now the algorithm in terms of how the timeline looks and all that. Let's just say you used to consistently reach 10,000 people with every post. I would say your engagement rate within that was probably about 10-15%. Let's just say 10% for a round number. So if you were reaching 10,000 people and you got 10% engagement from those people, you had about 1,000 likes on every post. That's pretty good. But now the problem is, instead of reaching 10,000 people with every post, because now the algorithm is factoring in the types of content people are likely to engage with, if they haven't liked or commented or engaged with one of your posts and they keep seeing your content, Instagram is saying, they must not be into Rob's content. Let's not show him Rob's content anymore, or at least not first. Let's show him the other content that he follows, so other accounts. And eventually your content or my content gets buried because people aren't engaging, and now I'm reaching less people. So every time I post, even though my followers are going up and everything like that, instead of reaching the majority of my audience, I'm reaching just a fraction of that. So I used to get 10% engagement of the people that I reached, but now I'm reaching way fewer people. So instead of reaching 10,000 people, I'm only reaching 5,000 people. So within that, now my engagement has gone way down seemingly, but really what's happened is my reach has gone way down. So the question now is, how do we get our reach back up, right? Because we went from getting 1,000 likes on every post to 500 likes on every post, and that stinks. So now that we've talked about sort of the high-level metrics that you should be looking at, I think it's really important to dive into how do we solve for this problem. So now that we know the thing that we need to fix is reach, because the more people we reach, the more engagement we should get, assuming that your content resonates with who you're reaching. But for me personally, I separate Instagram into two categories, and this kind of carries across all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, all these things. Really, you should be looking at it as organic versus paid, right? So organically, there's a few tips and tricks I can give you for how you can get your organic reach up. We'll start with hashtags. I think hashtags are super important. I know a lot of people have kind of written it off as like an old dying art. There's still a lot of value, and you can actually see directly how many people you're reaching specifically because of hashtags, and I have enough posts that perform better through hashtags that it justifies using hashtags. So coming up with a hashtag list is really valuable. You can use up to 60. You can put like 30 in the comments and then 30 in the caption. Personally, I just use 30 these days. I just put 30 in the comment section. But the trick with hashtags is to make sure that they're really specific. Using like hashtag sunny or hashtag happy is just way too broad, and you're probably gonna get picked up by like a lot of robots and kind of just BS comments stuff. So you'll just be getting emojis and stuff in your comments because robots will be commenting. What you want is really specific hashtags. So for example, I live in New York, and I take a lot of photos in and of New York. A hashtag that I might use is like NYCIG. So there's an Instagram page out there called NYCIG, and it's essentially just a feature account. So backtracking a little bit, when you use hashtags, people looking up those hopefully popular hashtags will be finding your content within it. Therefore, you're reaching more people, and because your content is relevant to that hashtag and relevant to what they're searching for, they will probably engage with your content, hopefully like it, and then come to your page and follow you and be a loyal follower moving forward. But furthermore, the page that's actually associated with that specific hashtag needs content to post. So every day, or however they manage their channel or their page, they are going to their own hashtag and looking for creators like you and I that have used that hashtag. So now, hopefully, your photo is just so much better than everyone else's that they say, okay, we're going to use that photo on our page. Now, that page could have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of followers. So by them sharing your content, you now get exposure to their audience, and a fraction of that audience will click on the photo, find out who took the photo, eventually landing on your page and exploring the page, hopefully liking and engaging with all your content. So hashtags are super, super valuable. And I think you should try to use them as much as you can. Don't use the same hashtags on every single post. Kind of change them up a little bit. Otherwise, there's rumors, and I don't know if I can totally prove it, but basically, if you use the same hashtags over and over and over on every single post, you may just start seeing less results from that hashtag list. So mix it up as much as you can, but there's obviously going to be some overlap. Just do what you can. Another really overlooked and seemingly obvious thing is to collaborate. I totally get that sometimes it's hard to find people to shoot with, whether it's schedules or just maybe you're from a small town, or just it's hard to find people that you really want to shoot with. What I'll say to that is try your best, make it happen. You really only need one other person sometimes to kind of just become your own little group. And then who knows, that person knows a couple other people, you'll end up meeting a couple other people. If you're struggling to find that one other person, look up the hashtags relevant to your city or town, and find other creators that are using that. They don't even have to necessarily be in your niche. It's great if they are, because obviously your work will complement each other a little bit more. But there's the added value of having your own hashtag list is now hopefully that's narrowed the search, and you're finding other people using those hashtags who probably care about what they're posting and how their Instagram is growing. So you can use those hashtags to then find people to shoot with. So I think those are all really organic ways to grow your page. The one other thing I'll add is sticking to a niche. I'm probably a poor example of this, as I've transitioned my page like a couple times from city landscape stuff to now more being focused on my personal brand and introducing me as a subject in a bunch of my content. But people really follow people that they don't know for a very specific reason, right? So to this day, if I post a picture of like Times Square or like the Empire State Building through the window of an airplane, people will engage with that so much more than a photo of just like me doing whatever I'm doing on a travel kind of excursion thing, just because that's what I built my core audience on. So I'm personally in the situation where I'm still transitioning, but the point is establish a niche and stick to it as much as you can. Obviously, as your interests change over time, perhaps your content can vary. I'm finding success with that by kind of, I'm a subject on a big landscape, so it's kind of like that middle ground, and I'm slowly introducing more humans-focused content, and it's going okay. But if you look at my content, you'll see stuff that's purely cityscape still does a little bit better than stuff with an actual person as a subject. So sticking to a niche is really important, and that's where we can transition really into the other side of Instagram, which I believe is the paid media side. One, I'll assume that you're already connected as a business profile. If you're not connected as a business profile on Instagram, just do a quick Google search, how to connect Instagram to be business profile. Again, the value of this is that you can get a lot of insights into your audience. Even if you're not gonna do a paid media approach, I would highly suggest you connect and get all the insights about who's following you and things like that. So at a high level, I wanna talk about reach versus impressions. Reach and impressions are often kind of mixed up. What it comes down to, and a really easy way to think about it, is if you post a photo and you reach me, Rob, you have now reached me one time. But if I see that photo twice or 3 times over the course of a few days, keeps popping up in my feed, every time I see it, you get a new impression, but you've only reached one person. So you can reach one Rob, but I can see the photo 3 times and give you 3 impressions. This is why I think reach is the most valuable number to be looking at. Because if I, like your photo the first time around, I can continue to give you impressions, but I've already engaged with it. So reaching me or getting more impressions from me doesn't really help you anymore. I've already done what I can to help your photo. So that's reach versus impressions. That's why reach really matters. Now, once you've connected to a business profile, there's a lot of cool things you can see. For example, you'll go into your stats screen and you can learn you know, which of your content's top performing, all that stuff, website clicks, or if you have like an email link in your bio, you can see how many times per week people are clicking that, how fast your channel or your page is growing. But to me, the most valuable thing is it kind of breaks apart your audience and tells you who's following you. So from countries and cities down to male or female, age ranges, and even which days your followers are most active, and within the days, what times they're most active. So this is really, really valuable insight to have in determining, one, what kind of content you should be posting, because you can see what's performed the best, and two, when you should be posting throughout the week and specifically within the day. For me, kind of another little tip to have is don't post at the peak time that most of your followers are active, because that's kind of when everybody's posting and your photo can just quickly get buried. I like to post maybe like an hour and a half or 2 hours before peak time. So let's just say 11 a.m. is when everybody's always on. I'll post around 9 a.m. so that my photo has already had some likes and engagement and stuff like that, so that when the big cluster of people are active, my photo will already have had like a bunch of points so that it ranks higher in people's feed, and therefore I'll kind of capture as many people as possible from that like super active time. So now that you have all those insights, basically what you're seeing a lot of people doing, influencers, brands, everything, is they're paying to reach more and more people because they've acknowledged the fact that reach is way down and they need to get more engagement on their content, because you're spending all this time creating this content and nobody's seeing it anymore. So you're like, what the heck? Real quick, addressing kind of a rumor or conspiracy that once you transition to a business profile, your reach goes down even further. I have not experienced that. I have access to a lot of clients' pages and a lot of Instagram accounts, and basically every time I've transitioned to a business profile, nothing changes. When things do start to change is when you actually pay to promote a post. So basically, right, you post a photo on your timeline and then you'll see this promote button right under the photo. If you click that, it'll give you the ability to create an audience and pay to reach them. So just for an example, if I posted a photo of New York City, I could then promote it and create an audience and target people based on their location, age, interests, things like that. So I would be targeting people interested in New York City, people interested in travel content, and the kind of people that already follow me, right? You can go way more granular than that. But you can get really specific with who's seeing your content. You can pay to reach them. I've had success with anything from like $15 if you're kind of like more on a bootstrap budget. But you know, you can go upwards from there. The more money you have, the better. But 15 to 100 usually, just like so that you don't all of a sudden have like tens of thousands of likes on a certain photo. And like it skews kind of the look of your page. That's a fair range to be in. I also totally understand if people don't have 15 or more dollars to put behind every single post. It can get expensive if you're posting a lot. But this is just one strategy to use. If you really are like desperately trying to grow your channel and you're not finding success with just posting organically and using the other tips we already talked about, this can really boost your profile. Now, caveat to doing this is that, and I'm sorry my AC just turned on, so we'll see if it messes with the noise, but once you start using a paid approach, I've seen that it now negatively impacts your organic approach. So if you promote a picture to reach thousands of new people one time, now moving forward, if you just post a photo and you don't put any paid budget behind it to reach new people, I personally think Instagram punishes you for doing that, because now they're like, hey, we want you to keep paying, so we're gonna make this photo suffer so that you want to pay to reach more people so that your feed doesn't look bad. So just be mindful of that. There's no like hard data around that. Instagram would never come out and just say that that's what they're doing, but from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense. They've found someone willing to pay, and they're gonna kindly encourage you to continue to pay moving forward. So I'll do a whole nother video on sort of how to create an audience and all that stuff, but I just wanted you guys to be aware that that's an option. You know, be careful with who you target, make it valuable. But what's really cool about targeting specific audience is that you're paying to reach what I call a micro audience, and therefore it's very specific. So if you're paying to reach someone based on their interest, location, etc., you're probably targeting someone that would likely want to follow you. So therefore, you're paying to get followers and things like that, but in a very approved kind of way. Like, you're not just going onto some sketchy website buying 10,000 followers that will not actually engage with you or anything like that. You're not just buying likes. You're growing your audience kind of like a business would. So do with that what you will. Happy to address any questions or concerns you have. Just leave them in the comments below or DM me, however you want to get questions to me. Happy to address them. If I don't get back to you directly, I'm probably thinking it's a good idea to make a video about it, because more people will probably have the same question and we can just do it that way. So just keep an eye on the channel. I'm gonna post a lot of different things on here, from like vlogs to kind of just travel montage videos like I already have. And then even just, you know, kind of tips, tricks, and addressing questions that I get pretty consistently. The point of this video, again, was just really to address that engagement is not down, reach is. So if you're going to complain about something, complain about reach. And now that you know what the real problem is, do your own research, A/B test a bunch of things when you're posting, how you're hashtagging, all that kind of stuff, and see what works best with you, and ultimately how you can increase your reach, because the more people you reach, the more engagement you should get. So I hope that helps. I'll see you on the next video. Looking forward to it.